It took precisely 1 year, but I can finally tell you exactly how they pulled the baffling $22 million Toronto airport gold heist. Who is accused of pulling it off? And the three stupid mistakes that ruined what looked like a flawless score. The Mob Reporter here with new details and exclusive revelations on the biggest ever gold heist in Canada. A job that ranks 6th on the list of all-time biggest gold robberies, and one that was a daring big-ticket score of a lifetime that seemed destined to be another unsolved mystery. And it might well have stayed that way if it weren't for these seemingly small but significant slips that doomed it all, leading to a wave of arrests in Canada for the stolen gold and more in the United States for a related plot, international gun running. I've got both ends covered. Let me tell you about it. First, the heist. Let's break it down. 6,600 variously sized bars of almost pure gold, along with $2 million in US cash. It was all inside a single shipping container aboard an Air Canada flight from Zurich, Switzerland that touched down at 3:56 p.m. on April 17, 2023. It was unloaded from the plane on the tarmac and driven on an armored truck through an underground tunnel that goes beneath the runways to a cargo warehouse on the edge of the airport. The gold bullion weighed slightly more than 400 kilograms. For those that don't do metric, that's 14,116 ounces of gold, or more than 882 pounds of it. A year ago, it was worth more than 20 million Canadian dollars. Today, it's worth more than 35 million. Gold has been on a run. The gold was sent by a refinery in Switzerland and was heading to one of Canada's major banks. It never made it there. At 6:32 p.m., a man who looked like he knew what he was doing arrived at the airport cargo facility and reversed a plain white 5-ton truck into one of the many loading bays. He was wearing a hat, glasses, medical mask, and heavy work gloves, but he had a safety vest on, so no one seemed to give him much notice. Inside, he talked to Air Canada staff and handed over an Air Waybill, which was a real Air Canada shipping sheet previously printed from within the Air Canada warehouse. But even though the waybill actually says it's for 1,200 kilos of seafood from Scotland, and in fact had already been released the day before, someone in the warehouse delivered the large shipping crate of gold from Switzerland on a forklift and placed it inside the white truck. We see that going on here, the cargo handler and the driver with a $24 million box. The driver then just drove away with it. Brink security didn't arrive until 9:30 p.m. When the container couldn't be found, Air Canada began an internal investigation, police said, and police weren't called until 2:43 a.m. That gave the bandits an 8-hour head start. That's how they pulled the heist off. Smooth, quick, simple. No guns, no violence, no noise. Here's the truck trundling off. It looked like they got away clean. Now here's something new I can tell you. The gold didn't go much further, not at that time. The gold was whisked into a local jewelry store, where most of it was melted in a makeshift forge in the store's basement. That's what the lead investigator told me. Molten gold was poured into casts to turn bars into long strips, and this machine twisted and turned gold into crude bracelets. They look like cheap bangles, but when they're made of pure gold, they're worth quite a lot. Just 6 that were recovered are worth about $90,000. So for the bandits, it's so far so good. But here's where the bandits made their first mistake. While the driver did a great job of hiding his face, he made one slip. You see it here. Look closely. He took his glove off his left hand to hold some paperwork, leaving a wayward fingerprint behind. The lead investigator confirmed to me that a fingerprint analysis was their first break that led to identifying the driver, as I reveal in my reporting in the National Post. Police identified him as Durante King McLean, 25 years old, of Brampton, Ontario. When they went to arrest King McLean, though, they got his truck. Still, the driver was a ghost. Until he made a second big stupid mistake. 360 miles south of the airport, across the Canada-US border in Pennsylvania, a state trooper pulled over the driver of a Nissan Sentra on September 2nd, 2023. The trooper said he spotted the car swerving out of its lane and its windshields were tinted too dark. Troopers say the driver ran away when they stopped him, but he didn't get far. It was Durante King McLean. A police database flagged him as being wanted by police in Canada. When state troopers opened the trunk of the Nissan, they didn't find stolen gold, but they did find 65 handguns. The firearms were being smuggled into Canada, according to an indictment filed in U.S. court. 2 of the guns were modified to be fully automatic, 11 had been stolen, and 1 had an obliterated serial number. The U.S. federal ATF took over the gun-running case. They searched the driver's phone and allegedly found messages on Threema, an encrypted messaging app, and through Instagram between King McLean and Parsath Paramalingam, a 35-year-old Brampton man. Messages from shortly after the gold heist discussed King McLean illegally crossing the border to get guns to smuggle back to Canada, the indictment claims. Paramalingam told King McLean he is going to leave Portugal to get cash for him, and the next day he sent King McLean a photograph of large stacks of Canadian currency wrapped with rubber bands, the indictment says. That description matches cash Canadian police seized in the case. These stacks, $430,000 in Canadian currency. Investigators on both sides of the border kept unraveling both a gold and a gun plot. The U.S. indictment was unsealed on April 16th. The next morning, on the 1-year anniversary of the gold heist, officials gathered about 4 miles from the scene of the crime to make a surprise announcement. 5 men accused in the heist were arrested in Canada and had already been released from custody pending trial. 4 more are wanted in Canada, although 1, King McLean, the alleged driver, is in custody in Pennsylvania. 4 people were indicted in the U.S. in the gun case, including King McLean and Paramalingam, who was pinched in Canada and may face extradition to the U.S. One guy, Archit Growler, 36, of Brampton, is considered a fugitive in Canada and the United States, wanted in both cases. Now this next part is key to how they pulled off the heist. Among those accused in Canada are 2 men who were Air Canada employees at the time. Get this, one of them, Simranpreet Panesar, was a manager in the cargo warehouse who even gave police investigators their tour of the crime scene at the facility shortly after the heist. How's that for an inside man? A few months later he resigned from Air Canada, but when police went to speak with him, he had already disappeared. He's still a fugitive, at least at the time I made this video. How many people were involved in the heist? We get a clue to that here. In their raids, police found these 2 versions of a debt list. Investigators believe they outline who received a portion of the profits from the job. And although police blurred the names before I got them, there appears to be 18 names on each list, and the names are the same on both. Police are trying to identify them all. Now here is the 3rd big mistake. After the heist, one of the accused Air Canada cargo employees, Parampal Siju, posted photos of his lavish lifestyle on his Instagram and Facebook pages.
Wow, what a gorgeous pool, infinity pool on the 3rd floor at the St. Paul. Check out this wine cellar at the St. Regis bar. Insane, I've never seen anything like this.
His posts document a jet-setter's life of international travel, first-class plane tickets, fancy watches, and feasting and drinking in hedonistic bliss. He documented a trip to Dubai just weeks after the heist, and another there in December. One last trip to close off a wonderful year, he said, leaving from Pearson Airport to Dubai. Dubai, by the way, is one of the world's top dirty gold trading hubs. It's impossible to believe that police wouldn't be looking carefully at a guy on a warehouseman's wage, living it up like a millionaire playboy, while $22 million in gold and cash is missing. Maybe it will all be explained away, perhaps in court. After all, charges are only allegations. Please give this video a like and leave a comment to juice the algorithm. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and please tap the thanks button to leave me a tip. That all helps keep my fire burning. Thanks for watching to the end.